Hey y'all, this is Dr. Soltis, and I just wanted to give a quick introduction to using Neopixels. They're also called WS2812B. It's a generic name for them. It's kind of like Tylenol versus ibuprofen. Yeah, I just kind of wanted to run through how to use them. They're really cool. They're one of my favorite types of LEDs. You can make a lot of cool things with them. I have a few projects I've done with these. I have a clock that has a ring of 60 neopixels. And I have some neopixels in my office that change color based on what the traffic is like. So I know if they kind of turn reddish if the traffic's bad, or green if the traffic's clear. So I know if I can should hit the road early or just camp out of my office because it's gridlocked. I have some of my next to my bed. When I turn on my lamp, they change color to tell me what the forecast is for the day. So like a green would be a super nice day, red would be hot, purple would be cold. Yeah, they're a lot of fun to play with, and they're super easy to get set up. You can chain a bunch of these off of a single pin on your Arduino, so that makes them super useful instead of trying to hook up a bunch of LEDs to each individual pin on your Arduino. So I just want to quick work out how to run these. Um, First off, they run off of 5 volts. You could power them off of, in this case, you could power them off of the 5-volt pin. But when they're all on at full brightness, they can draw a lot of amps, and you could damage your Arduino by trying to pull too much amps out of the Arduino. And so it's really recommended that you figure out some external way to power them. In this case, I'm using a 9-volt battery that can provide all the amps I need. And then it's going through a 5-volt regulator to drop it down to the 5 volts that the NeoPixel needs. You could also use like a USB power supply that's 5 volts, and usually they're written on it how many amps they can provide, but that would give you plenty of amps as well. The nice thing about a battery is I could also run a wire if I wanted to. I could drop a wire from, this is the 9-volt terminal, from the 9 volts to the VN pin. I could just draw a wire there, and I could power my Arduino off of the 9-volt battery and the NeoPixel off the 9-volt battery. So if I was trying to make a cool bike light or something like that, I could wire it up that way. Another thing to keep in mind about the NeoPixels, so like I said, you could hook, they're all chained up off of one pin on the Arduino. In this case, I'm just using pin 2. They recommend having a resistor between the pin and the NeoPixel that just helps protect the NeoPixels. I usually have a bunch of 330 ohm resistors in my kit, so I put a 330 ohm resistor there just to protect the NeoPixel. And that's basically all you need to know for the hookup. I'll get into a little more detail on that in a minute towards the end of this video, but that's a good beginning part. In the code, there's a couple things you need to do to get these running. You need to include the library. So here I've just include the Adafruit NeoPixel library. You need to define which pin the NeoPixels are on. So in this case, I'm on pin 2. And then how many NeoPixels you have. So in this case, I have 4. And they're going to be numbered 0, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3. So they start counting at 0, and that's 4 NeoPixels. Then I just make a new strip. So I could define a strip, and I tell how many LEDs and the pin they're off of. I can add additional arguments to this to say, like, I'm using a specific type. These come in kind of all different flavors. If I'm using a specific type of NeoPixel, I can tell the code what NeoPixel I'm using. And then in the setup, I need to do strip.begin. Basically what that does is it has all these NeoPixels. They all have a little microcontroller built into them, and they count off. It says, okay, I'm 0, I'm 1, I'm 2, I'm 3. And now they know their address. And so then when you use this set pixel color, the first thing here is the address. So if I said set pixel color 2, it looks, okay, 0, no, I'm not. It just passes that message down the strip until it gets to the NeoPixel it needs to do. And then it will set that color that you define, red, green, blue. And then the last thing you need to do is you need to use this to show to show those colors. So you could set the pixel color. Nothing will happen until you call strip.show. And then all the pixels have memory in them, and they'll tell what color they are. They'll show that color. So I'll give a quick example of how I can change that to change the effect of this strip. In this code, I just have a loop, a for loop. It's going from 0 up to 3, so it's counting off 1, 2, 3, 4, and it's assigning for each one. It's just picking a random number for the red, the green, and the blue between 0 and 255, and then setting that pixel to be that random color, and then showing it, and then delaying 100 milliseconds before it does the next one. Real quick, I could show you if I move this strip.show to outside of that for loop. So if I move it over here, now we're going to have, and I'll move the delay as well. Now, instead of each pixel changing color individually, now they're all going to change at the same time. So we're going to set the pixel colors. And so it sets the pixel colors. That's too fast. So it sets the pixel colors, and then they all change instantaneously when I do that strip.show. So you can't see that it's, even if I put a delay into this loop, so if I do delay 100, you can't see that delay happening. They all change at the same time. So I'm setting each pixel, but they only show the color when I do strip.show. So that's how you do the code for the Neopixels. One cool thing about the Neopixels is they come in all sorts of different formats. So you can get rings of them, you can get strips of them, you can get individual ones, you can get these little jewels that have a bunch of different ones in them. If I just go to SparkFront, which is a company that sells a lot of electronic stuff, you can see all the different form factors that I can get them in, including one really cool thing is I can just get them kind of in a traditional breadboard LED package. So it looks just like a normal LED. It has 4 pins. The 4 pins on it are going to be input, 5 volts, ground, and then output. And you just can daisy chain the output to the next input. So I can show how to do that here. Here, if I wanted to add 4 more LEDs to my strip, all I need to do is I could just chain these up. So I'm just going to bring the power. Bring the power down, and then connect the grounds. And finally connect the input pins to the output pin. Then in the code, all I need to do is I need to change the number of pixels I have. So I just need to have 8 now, and I'm ready to go. I'm going to move that that strip.show back up here. So now I have 8 pixels instead of 4, and I can run that, and we can see the pixels all kind of just do their thing, do random colors. If I wanted to add more, I could just copy and paste that, and copy and paste this Neopixel, connect the outputs, and I could string up a ton of them together. So it's super easy to add. So the last pin here is always your output, and arrows showing which way it goes. So you have the input, the output. But these are really physical things. You can also, the nice thing is you can just get some pair of scissors and you can just slice these, and you could cut them to whatever length you want to get the pixels working. So that's Neopixels. That's how to use them. I think they're pretty fun and pretty easy to work with. You can do a lot of really cool things. You can fade them on, fade them off. It just takes some creative thinking about how you're going to write your code to assign those colors. But once you get that, you're good to go.